crawl back out. Okay. Hope you're gonna be okay. Kind of makes me feel like pouring it out, but then I could risk hurting him, so it's just like very tough. Maybe like stab a hole in the bottom so that you really don't want him to get drunk. This is equal being. This is myself. I love myself a lot. How much patience and presence do you have? How much care, actual compassion do you have for yourself? And it's not necessary to have an over compassion. If you just, whatever you feel authentically is okay. You know, if you don't feel like you're worried about it, then perfect. Go ahead, accept yourself. If you do feel worried about it, then perfect. Go ahead, accept yourself. Whatever it is, no problem. Because then you just create more karma when you're like, oh, emergency. No problem, it's cool. Just, you gotta accept it now where it is. Now you keep going. Yeah, it's so wonderful to be blooming my lotus, you know. All eyes to see. But also to give the keys. Because these teachers need to know too, you know, they've been perfect as well. Everything's just agitating focus. When I see something like this in the world, it just creates an expression from me, an observation. Like, what is this? Well, you should see the way I talk to myself when I find out my own dissonance. I'm like, you motherfucker, I tell you what, I'm real tough with myself. But I'm also got a harsh language, you know, I'm a tougher guy. You know, I didn't come from spiritual communities. I came from a conservative world. A fight mentality, fear-based reality. You know, me and my friends, we'd sit on a porch and we'd cuss at each other all day. It was fun. We do that. There was a time when I valued being an asshole. I thought it was the coolest thing to be. Now I'm just being myself. And when I was 4 years old, I learned how to swear. I swear all the time. But I'm harsh with me. I'm serious with me. I want me to get right immediately. I don't want me to loop myself ever again. If I see a loop, I tell myself never again. I am very serious with myself. Like, oh man, you hurt yourself. Don't you ever do that again. Like, oh my goodness. Now I've come to a great place of rest to see it also as perfect. See, I'm not doing anything even to a greater degree than that. Coming to greater places of softening through the direct experience that is the now moment in life as it unfolds itself. Become super mindful of every one of your actions, every one of your thoughts and your feelings. Why? The why of everything that you're doing. You become easily able to refine just through the awareness and the seeing of the more efficient route, the smoother path. We always go towards the smoother path. We just simply have to see it. So that's where the sharing of awareness is really amazing. Wisdom, really phenomenal, really beneficial. So if we're not sharing these things, then I don't know. I mean, I guess if we felt like we couldn't share in fullness, then that would make a lot of sense, because then you wouldn't maybe be able to confuse somebody. They weren't able to stay with you for very long. But here we are on video. It makes it impossible to not be able to explain in fullness. Then it's just up to the learner. You know, if they look and they don't watch all, then they have the possibility to being led out of context by their own inability to care to accurately take in information in the manner in which information was meant to be transferred. And so it is nobody's fault for their confusion but their own. And we can state this many times. Nobody said anything about becoming confused by statements of myself. But another route in which can cause the least amount of possible confusion is simply having the time, the patience, and the energy to explain oneself in fullness. And if you can do that always to the greatest amount of impeccability to ensure not to mislead, you know, and that's also seeing where we're saying things absolutely that we're not absolute about. That way we stop presenting image falsely. Somebody might think so well of us that they trust and believe us for exactly what it is that we've said to them. And if we found out that we were wrong and they conducted 50 years of their life on this thing that we said to them just to find out that we were wrong, how amazing would that be? That thought of a 50-year misguide, that somebody might have even been praying to an image that we created and dedicating all their life and all their things to a falsity. Could you imagine? And you knew about it and you did nothing. What a great friend you are. Could you imagine? That would be crazy. Or you're the one who misled on accident, whatever it is. You know? So that for me is the kind of thing that I think about. I think of it very extremely, like what a terrible detriment, almost like I murdered somebody, what it would be like to misguide somebody with information, to not have the time, the patience, and the energy to be there fully with somebody. If I don't want to be with you, I guess then I shouldn't be with you. If I don't want to talk to you, then I guess I shouldn't be talking to you. If I don't have the energy to transmit something fully, then I don't know why I'm there with that, trying to do that or acting like I want to. I mean, that's why I always stay in situations that fill me, that I want to be in, because genuinely then I have all the energy necessary to be myself fully in a way that's always impeccably and for benefit of anything that's around me, authentically, actually, really, literally. It becomes very easy for the moment to fill me freely as I just be me. I feel very, very, very grateful for this. I just blew the ant off, so I took a drink, but just gotta make sure. You don't want anybody to get lost. If he does fall in there, I might pour him out and save him. Pretty sure he's gone. Yeah. So for a long time, people are afraid to share information and afraid to share the wisdom of their experience, afraid to do anything. So we're talking about the now moment and how effortlessly it unfolds. That I don't need to think about anything that's going to be said, that I don't need to try in any way, that I'm pretty much just listening to myself, and so loosely too. It's kind of like I don't even know what I am saying, but it's being said. I'm here so open, so empty. Eventually I catch on to certain things, but I'm so present with myself so fully with each syllable, so fully there, each one of the syllables, for the exact time in which they are there, and not for any amount of time longer. So it's a very loose focus, but quite refined. It does it on its own, though. It does it on its own. This is how all reality is occurring, but sometimes it's slowed down in densities in different ways that we don't see it occurring, and we don't see it occurring with fluidity, so we can't see how it's happening because we make breaks. There's still no actual break, though. It's just a very perceived hard stop. And then the transition is kind of strange. Eventually, we could actually, even in the way that I experience breaks, there's some way that you cannot see it as a possible break because there's no separation, you see. And we'll be able to draw all these things out. And so that's the cool thing. I'm saying that now, but it hasn't been long that we've been doing these videos. A little over a month, though, perhaps, or maybe we started the videos after we had the phone for a few days, but I think it's been over a month probably. So we've been doing good. You've been able to see the progression of our flows throughout a month in some kind of a way. Of course, we haven't done the entirety of the month. We've had some gaps in the journey. We did think originally that maybe we would do that, which I have to be honest with you, the amount of video and information and data transfer that is quite daunting. And we could actually give this much data all the time because, as I said, free energy generates when you just express for yourself, and you don't have to even try. At this time, I'm much more aware of what it is that I'm saying and be able to stick on a certain focus, but sometimes that's not happening in any way. It's just unfolding on its own. I don't worry about what just previously happened or what's happening next, and here at the very fine-tuning of exactly where I am as I'm happening, so in succession, as it's going, very moving fluidly with formlessness. Otherwise, I'd be stuck on a single tone, like, but instead, everything's able to flow, because I'm not holding on to any one of them, because I'm not keeping an observation of the moment for too long. So there's really amazing, easy ways to bring us into this amazing place of presence, but in an active manner that allows it to transmit very easily within the whole of our lives. And that's the flow practice that I talk about, but it's also the breath practice, the Native American flute practice. Really, any time that I'm present in any way, in any kind of a manner, for any length and duration, it's benefiting every other thing that's occurring. And so presence constantly does this. How long can we be present, or how long are we divided while we're present? Are you mindlessly, robotically, habitually doing something to where you're able to have all kinds of data and thoughts happening to where once you're done with the task, you don't even realize that you did it? You're like, oh, I finished all that already? Wow, amazing. It's phenomenal. And not that that's not a present moment practice too, because if you can see, instead of being present with your physical reality, how being present with that reality was also present, then that in a way was a meditation as well, if you begin to observe it in a really accurate manner. Of course, stepping out of it and stopping the control of it and of the allowance of the flow of it is really what's necessary here. So we're talking about moving forward. And when it came to energy flow masters that probably had some kind of realm of realization to the level of accuracy in which this is being depicted at this time, They didn't leave the competitive mentality that thought that the only reason for the focus was for fighting and for the betterment of something and for the succession or the continuance of some kind of lineage or culture or some kind of belief in family or whatever it is, some kind of honorable bloodline or whatever, the attachment to the teaching, however that is. Because there was a fight, it was for the meaning of competition. It was never seen that it could be used in a way of dance that would actually lead to a greater fluidity than what was previously possible as it moves into the form of formlessness, which matches the moment and the law of impermanence and really all of consciousness, all that is. And to move that in that way is to enter limitlessness. And so they were unable to enter limitlessness due to the attachment of form. And so it made no sense to share their form. Somebody could take it, could become the proprietor of their form. But formlessness, you just can't own that shit. Anybody can exist formlessness. Now, it doesn't usually have a direct focus. Most people doing formlessness look like erratic, fiery jesters that are just like wacky, waving, inflatable on tune bed. But as it turns out, you can have the most amazing martial arts focus to your insane, limitless expression. And you can accelerate that shit faster than what any person around you in medicine ceremony has ever perceived energy, even with you just being focused on your breath in the present moment. Now that's pretty fucking amazing. And then if you do have medicine ceremony, holy fucking shit, grab onto your seats. We're about to be on the ride of our lives. I'm really surprised that went through. I was like trying to observe what the next statement was supposed to be because I knew what the first statement usually leads to, or I thought I might. And so then I kind of had that flow stagnation, but then it just like allowed the breath, and then it rolled out the words that were correctly behind it. Thank goodness. Oh, I didn't have to direct it. Oh my God, that was hard. Thanks for going through that with me, guys. It was really difficult. The route of expression just writes itself, though. You just have to keep doing it. Like there, back in the past, I might have stopped at that point, looked around for a while, felt like an idiot, then started to express how I felt like an idiot, and then wondered where it was going, and then maybe still came to the solution because I always make it to the full end of the chord structure through expression, no matter how much gap I have between it. But you can even wait 3 years before you start expressing about it again. That's the cool thing about expression. That channel will not move until you express it. That's how the energies go in your life, the feelings, the emotions, the everything that's causing you what you think is dissonance in your illusory style belief in reality. But actually, it's the greatest teacher, as it's the only thing that's going to provide you the agitation and momentum necessary to transcend those parts of yourself that create ego blockages that won't allow you to be yourself completely limitlessly and liberated here with the whole of all beings. And now that we came into the point of focus where we can tell the breath's doing it, that's why it's completing itself to the fullness of the breath cycle. So you can see I'm just breathing out, and that's what's allowing the next words to come out. And if I were to stop at that moment and not let it breathe out all the way, I wouldn't get the entirety of that message through. So that's pretty fucking crazy shit. I can't believe it. Real here, precise on this moment. This can breathe through all kinds of songs and all kinds of amazing singings and all kinds of amazing, phenomenal energies. I'm telling you, if I had more confidence, I'd do the song thing right now at this moment. It takes a ridiculous amount of confidence to not overshoot or to undershoot, or not to direct really in any manner, to trust that yes, the song will come out exactly as the song is meant to come out. And so no, I don't need to direct it. I can just be there observing it, listening to it, and following it, and allowing it, and just really taking in the amazingness that is the feeling of the entirety expression and the transference of its coding to whoever happens to be beholding the amazing frequency and knowing that happens to come through this phenomenal voice channeling that may be coming through in a beautiful harmonious melody. Song, symphony, orchestra. I don't know. Really just. So you just breathe, and allow. And the greater you do that, the better it goes. So eventually we're going to have the greatest song channel. So if I do the flow more and more and more and more and more every day nonstop without any kind of break in the consistency of such, it will just come through ridiculously on its own. It builds with confidence. Trust builds on its own confidence, because as you do it, it's obvious that you're not doing it, and so when you do it perfectly, you can just trust it. You're like, oh yeah, well, it's apparent that if I do it this way, it's going to be perfect every time, and when I try to control it, it's going to be, well, whatever my own ability is. So I can either trust and surrender and allow, or I can figure it out and do it myself, dominate, manipulate, control reality, be my ego mentality. It's okay. You can fall into synchronicity with what is all here in absolute unity, or you can do your own thing. Whatever it is, eventually you'll fall in line with what is actually yourself, and not the ego illusory reality that decides that it wishes to do something different than what everything's doing that is itself. And you can't actually do something different, so it's just funny coming to the awareness, realization of where everything already is, that you are already perfect, you're already the Buddha. You can look at yourself as the cursed one, you could look at yourself as the blessed one. You can be who you are actually, perfection embodied. But you would have to know what that means, or else you might take form. And if you take form, you'll confuse yourself, you'll confuse others, and you'll lead yourself into such a state of confusion that you'll have to wait until the rest of us wake ourselves up before you'll be able to see. And we'll come for you. But if you're unable to get right, then you have to fall away. And I'm sorry if that happens. But also, if it does happen, it's what's for our highest benefit. If it were to happen to me, it showed me before that if it were to happen to me in that experience, that it would have been the thing that I wished for most, because we only ever wish to actually be a benefit. And you could say, what? How is that thing benefiting? And that's from the point of judgment that we make such a statement. Everything here is in equal benefit to one another, and one day we'll be able to see it, and it'll give settle to the whole of reality, and we'll be able to relieve ourselves from the dissonance of our illusory perceptions, and everything will show us its forever absolute perfection, what is always occurring, the only constant, what truth truly is. The tree of truth, the tree of life, the tree of us all, the center of the frequency of unconditional love for all beings everywhere without one exception. I really appreciate everybody here. Thank you for letting me talk, letting me channel, letting me speak. I was wondering if we were going to be able to do any videos, if I was even going to be able to channel anymore, if I was going to be in doubt, if we were going to be on a focus that was going to be able to continue in cessation in a way that would seem to be of relevance and of benefit. Is it going to be new? Is it going to be old? Are we going to repeat ourselves and be redundant? Is this going to be a new thing that's actual? Am I going to look like an idiot? Am I going to lose so much hope or confidence or doubt so much that I can't actually do it anymore? Is everybody going to see me look like a fool? Well, luckily for me, it brought me into that frequency before you ever came on a camera today, so I already came into the great centering of flow talking to Remy Fasolati Doe in Dayton here. So it was easy to flow, it's easy to find the place, and we've been growing every single day. I've come to the greatest realm and expression of my flow recently, physically, without the help of medicine ceremony, and always, of course, with the help of medicine ceremony. You can never say that medicine ceremony never happened. For you to say, oh, I did this on my own, is silly. And I think for us to be so irreverent of those medicine teachers and those bodhisattvas and bodies that give us the greatest gateways to all the consciousness, the greatest ways of acceleration through our asking and deep presence, if we go in a good way and good intention, that it bring to us exact. It's like the wish-fulfilling jewel, those things. And so for us to ever speak, it's like if you guys have ever spoken blasphemy, it's the way you've spoken of DMT or LSD or any of these amazing frequencies that lead to the most amazing realms of realization that actually, if not set intention in the way of stagnation for the finite nature of our ego mentality to grow something that is not here truly and is purely illusory, then we would find that actually it stays. That it's not a glimpse that fades away. That it's something that pervades, that belongs to us always, that is us. And that we could never lose the awareness of who we are. We embody fully who we are when we know ourselves fully. The reason that we only glimpse it and don't really know it is because the intention and the length of which we go in. And so we can speak to it like a science. And you can write yourself very easily through your words and through your verbiage. in a way that sets pure intention and corrects yourself and your focus and allows you great rates of acceleration through these amazing processes of medicine teachers, through this amazing process of going in with pure intention. You're going in trueness. If you go in for yourself selfishly, you're only part of all of the we that is here perfectly in unity and harmony, equal to everything. And that's the reason you only get that same focus. The way you go in, you will also get out. You reap what you sow. That's for you to know. And so if you wish to sow a good seed that reaps for you great fruit in everything, then you'll have to sow the seed of truth. You have to sow the seed that embodies the heart of all beings. Unconditional love for all beings everywhere without one exception. The center frequency. The tightest and fastest frequency in the center of the toroidal field of all of our structurings. The bridge between the heavens and the earth. The jewel that is in the lotus. The flame that is in the heart. Om Mani Padme Hum. Why wouldn't they give you this route, these teachers? I mean, do they know this route? Do they know about effortless expression, about formlessness? Do they know about limitless capability? Do they know that you're worthy of it? That you're capable? That you can logically understand no matter where your view is because you're here existing right now currently as perfection? And what are they trying to do? Come and get you to pay for them forever? Like, what's the deal? I mean, hey, you can pay for me all you like. I totally like to eat. I like a house. I like a hot tub. I like all kinds of cool shit. But I also like to surrender to the universe, so I would never actually do those things unless that's exactly what consciousness need me to do. So only if it worked out. I tell you right now, it has to be absolutely free and no requirement of me. If you require something of me, then it's not free. It's a slavery. It's a suppression of my being, and I will never do this. I'll just be myself wherever I am. Then I'll be free. I'll be helping constantly. I'm giving always. I'll never stop. I don't care. I don't charge anything. Come up to me. We'll talk. If we're able to be of benefit to one another, then we'll be of benefit to one another. If we can't be of benefit to one another, then I'm not going to be able to sustain the frequency. I'm not going to stay with everything forever unless it's a benefit. If it's always a benefit, then come on, hang out. We'll always, even if it's agitating, we'll be a benefit to each other, whatever. Luckily for me, I know myself so well now. I know what is and what is not. So it's easy now for me to route myself in a way of joyous efficiency for my own personal journey. I try to help everything understand these things, to understanding themselves fully, understanding what's happening. Today we were scoffing at the teachers of the world in some way, but that was because of the way that the flow had brought in such direct focus of how it's doing itself in such an amazing manner. How can they control themselves? How can they stop themselves from saying something or whatever, you know? How can they decide, oh no, not for here, not for now? Unless they really are, that is just simply the channel of the moment, you know? But then I don't see them having the movement. You don't see me doing a lot of the movement right now, but I'm not fully myself right now. They're very confident, these people. You know, they're very much themselves right now. You know, like they might be at max capacity of themselves right now. You haven't seen me unfold my lotus all the way. You know, if you saw me more unfolded, you don't understand what I'm saying. And I know you're going to. That's why I feel so confident to talk this way now, even knowing that you haven't seen me unfold all the way. Because I know you're going to see me. And you're going to be like, holy shit, what the fuck? This guy was talking about what? All right, listen more of what he was saying. Go watch that. Go watch part 2 now. Sorry about that. I thought he was a dickhead. Let me see again. Okay. Yeah, no, he's talking real shit. It's obvious. He's embodying something crazy. I don't know what it is. He says it's all that is. He said it's great perfection. He says no judgment. I don't know. This is very interesting. This guy. He talks like the masters. He talks like he has authority, like he knows what he's talking about. He doesn't even talk like he read it in a book. Like he's discovered something. I don't know what's up with this dude. And then you see the things they're doing, you're like, oh, okay, wait a minute. This guy really knows something. For at least what he knows about the flow and body and physicality, I mean, I at least want to talk to him. Like Bruce Lee or something, who knows? Oh, that was a big boasting. Like, whoa. Can I live up to something like that? That's crazy. Well, the flow does it on its own. If I do live up to something like that, it would only be because the flow wanted me to. I'm not going to force or show off in any way. That's not right. If I were to show off, I hurt myself. So you might think that I'm boasting or arrogant or something, but this is like the exact energy that's coming through me in the frequency. I own it. And I say it exactly as it comes through me. Because when I do not, I make less of it. And it stays with me. And I end up having to express about how I omitted it, how I changed it, how I was less, or how I wasn't confident with it, or whatever it was. Because that's impeccability. That's honesty. That's transparency. That's That's how you remain in integrity with all beings everywhere without one exception, who you are truly. I am myself, and myself is greater than I. We'll find out what that means soon. It's great that we come to that place. I'm my father, and my father is greater than I, and then it was I am my consciousness, and my consciousness is greater than I. I am myself, and myself is greater than I. That's kind of cool. More direct. We'll come in more further. I move around a lot. I'm kind of a funny mover. Eventually, we'll see even what it means to move even greater than it. To move the throat, to move all these things. Why aren't they doing the light language? There's all kinds of things. Why haven't they opened up their channel like that? What can they show you? That's what I want to. I want to see that Muji. I challenge your son. No, I don't know. I don't challenge you. I don't want to compete. I'm sorry. I love you, but I do love you a lot, and I wonder about you. So maybe we talk someday.